Hello everyone. Thank you so much for watching my video. My name is Brenda Campbell. I'm an artist and a certified Zentangle teacher. I want to welcome you to my channel and welcome you to this Festive Friday video. In December, I am going to release a new video on Fridays with a holiday theme. And today we are going to use a Zentangle Phi tile. We are also going to add some watercolor. I'm just going to use a single color. We are going to use some glitter gel pens. We are going to use some metallic gel pens, and we're also going to use a black Zentangle Micron pen. I will likely use both a 01 with a fine tip and a PN with a fatter plastic nib for if I'm filling in any solid black spaces. So we're going to go ahead and start by taking a few deep breaths. This is a Zentangle inspired art class, and I am still going to follow the steps of the Zentangle method as much as possible. So we're going to go ahead and begin with a few deep breaths. When you're breathing in, bring yourself to an erect position, getting tall and straight like a tree. And when you exhale, just release everything, any tension, any tightness, just let it all go. Let it all go down and out with that exhale. So let's just do a few, starting with 1, breathing in and out. Just let your shoulders drop. And again. And out. One more. In and out. Now, when you're ready, go ahead and pick up your pencil. We are going to move on to step 2, which is corner dots. I do this because if I don't, I'm going to have stuff all over the place, and this helps me to keep it contained. Moving on to step 3, we're connecting those dots with a border. Now this ornament is going to be one of those fancier ornaments. So let's start with a smaller circle, and then a larger circle, and then a smaller circle, and another smaller circle. So we've got basically 3 sections. We're going to put a cap on it. I'm still using my pencil. With a loop for our hanger. I think that's enough. I've just basically drawn my shape so I have a guide as I continue with my pen. So now I am picking up my Micron 01, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the round circle in the center. And from that, I'm going to draw another one on top, but it's not really going to be a complete circle. I've stopped at the bottom of my hanger thing. You know, those ornaments that have those metal caps. So I'm going to draw that next. And they're kind of rounded, so I'll do this. Then I'm going to draw my ring. And I'm going to aura it, but coming to a point at the bottom. And then I'm going to bring the cap around. Okay, so I'm happy with that for the top. So now I'm going to make my other 2 rings. again, they're like coming out, they're squeezing out from underneath. So I have my basic shape now. So I've got my Peerless watercolor. It's Jacquemin red. I don't speak French. I think it looks French. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it was one of my very first favorite colors from the Peerless watercolor line. It's just such a bright, bold pink, and I don't know, it makes me happy. How can it not make you happy? So what I'm going to do with this is I really prefer to use a well to pick this up. I've done all kinds of ways. Now my brush is really heavy with water, and I'm just going to pick that up with my brush, pick up this paint, this bottom section, trying to get as much of it off as I can. Now I'm just going to add a touch of water, thin it out a little bit, because it will dry fast, unfortunately, as I use it. And then I'm going to go ahead and get as much of it out of my brush as I can, because I don't want it to be too heavy when I start. And I'll take this off, put this away over here. Okay, now I'm going to turn it upside down. And the reason I'm doing that is because when I draw something that I want to be round, I want it to be spherical. And I'm not being terribly precious with this watercolor here, but it's always darker in one corner of the bottom. So that's why I'm starting there, and I'm just getting a little bit more water here to blend it out a little bit, make it look a little smoother. Now, I did not erase the pencil marks from my guide, and that is kind of a personal preference, and I didn't really want to be precious with this particular piece, so I left it. But what you should know is that if you don't want it to show, all you need to do is erase it before you begin. And I've got an eraser here. I'm just going to erase some of this down here, and these lower ones where I went way out, I'll even erase a little bit up here. Okay, and I'm gonna take it off camera to blow off those crumbs there. I just did not want to get those in the wet paint. Okay, so I've got my first one done, and you'll notice I left a highlight, a spot that is solid white, and that is to be kind of a reflection. Now I'm going to do essentially the same thing I did here in each of these smaller orbs, circles, if you will. I went back and got quite a bit of paint in that last brush, so I'll try to use some of that off here. So I'm adding extra layers and extra pigment around the perimeter of each of these circles, because that should be darker. That's where it would be darkest if there were shadows. A little bit underneath here also. And then the bottom corner, like I had mentioned. Okay. Now let's turn it back upside down and get this final section here. Leave a little highlight in this one. Okay. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. I've got this here that went way outside. I'm going to add a little bit of extra water and see if I can't just make this bleed a little bit and give it kind of a loose watercolor feel. Try to get the same effect over here. And then I'm just blending out this water so it doesn't really have a harsh edge when it dries. And that will just kind of fall into the background there. If you're drawing along, and I truly hope that you are, this is a good time to take a minute and let your paint dry, or pause the video and finish painting. And then when you're ready, come back, take your time. You can be as precious with it as you like. Just because I am not being precious doesn't mean you can't. Just notice a little bit more over here, so adding a little bit more there. Just softens the edges a little bit, is all that does. Okay, so take a moment. I'm going to be back when this is dry and we'll finish from there. Okay, I'm back. I'm pretty sure this is dry enough to go ahead and continue. So I'm going to start with my Micron 01 pen, and I am going to draw a kind of an S shape. Let's just say that. We're going to draw an S shape. It's going to come from up behind, if you will. And when I get to the white, I'm going to stop drawing because I want to leave that highlight there. Now I'm going to draw another line. And then I'm going to kind of close it in here. And I am going to fill it in with solid black. And just like when I drew the initial lines, I am not going to fill it in over the white. And I'm kind of giving it a scratchy, edgy end. It doesn't have a straight line end. Come back around the other side and do the same thing over here. Okay, and I'm gonna do another one. this one can be completely filled in solid. There's no highlights, so I'm going to get my PN pen and fill it in. It will go a little quicker with my PN. I don't know if that's a good PN. Try a different one. Yeah, this is juicier. This will go faster. Okay. Do I need another one? Maybe we will do one more across here. I'm gonna get a smaller one. See, I'm using my PN because I forgot to switch back. So I hope I remember once I finish filling these in. Now these ornaments are really fun to draw, and I'm going to show you some examples that I have drawn, just so you kind of see what I've done. And this is not necessarily a Zentangle pattern that I'm drawing, but it is definitely Zentangle inspired. A lot of tangles have these similar lines around them. And apparently I'm going to draw them on all, but I'm going to do one more at the top, but I'm trying to figure out. I guess I'll just do it like that. This was not necessarily what I had planned, but it's kind of interesting how when I'm working on a piece, I have maybe an idea where I'm going, and then it just kind of takes on a mind of its own, leads me in a different direction. Okay, so now I have this like a winding ribbon all the way around, and that's okay. I kind of want that, so I'm going to leave that there. And I'm going to come up here next to my cap. Now this particular cap is going to have lines in it, little edges that, and then this is going to get filled in dark. Okay. And now I am going to pick up one of my metallic pens. I am going to go with a gold. This is a Sakura Gelly Roll Metallic gold pen. It has a pretty fat nib. That's okay. I don't mind it too much. And let me get this scrap paper here. Yeah, this is nice and juicy. I like it. So we are going to fill in between the black lines on our hanger piece, our little cap, if you will. We're just going to try to keep the black visible, because I think if you go over, now there was a line there that I did go over, and that's kind of cool. I kind of wanted that. And then we're going to do the same thing here with our loop for the hanger. Okay, kind of lost a little bit of my black line there. That's okay, I don't mind too much. And I am going to use a green metallic to draw a tangle in the background. This is actually one of their Stardust. See the star there. This is Stardust pen. I call them their glitter pens. We're going to use this in a minute, but first I want to finish doing something with this here. And I'm going to look for another sparkle pen, but I think I've got this purple one. This is a Sakura Gelly Roll. I don't know, it doesn't say sparkle, but I know it is sparkly. And it has this cap that you push in and out. I thought it'd be kind of clever to check it out. It is an 08, so it's a pretty fat nib. And let's go ahead and try this and see what it does. First, let's try it here. Yep, pretty juicy. What I'm going to do with this is to draw a line in between these black lines that I drew. Maybe even draw one on top and the bottom of each of these smaller. So it goes between the black lines. I kind of like it. It's very simple, but it is a little sparkly. I should use another color to make like the hook. And this is actually a clear, let's see what the clear Stardust looks like. Can't really see it very well. This is my silver metallic Gelly Roll pen. Let me try to do this upside down. Okay, so this just kind of, one goes behind and the other goes on top. That's what gives it that under look. I'm going to grab my PN pen and I'm going to try to fix this black outline where I kind of went over it. Now, sometimes the black will not work and you're going to need a metallic. And I think in this case, that's exactly what I'm going to need. Not a metallic. I'm sorry. This is metallic though. Let's see if it, usually a Gelly Roll pen will go over top of another Gelly Roll pen. Easy. This actually looks more gray than black, but that's okay. Then maybe I'll do this too. Okay, it's a little weird looking, but it's a loop around a hook, and that's fine. And I thought of one more thing I want to do. I'm going to grab my PN pen again, and I'm going to put a little point on the bottom of this ornament. It's going to have kind of a rounded point, and I'm just going to fill this in with solid black. Okay, now I'm putting my PN pen away, and I'm picking up my Stardust Gelly Roll Green pen. This is Gelly Roll Green number 729 in the Stardust line. Maybe a little bit of a blue-green. And we are going to draw the pattern Verdigogh. It looks like kind of a branchy thing. I often draw it at Christmas time. I'm going to draw it to look more like a Christmas tree branch, at least one from my imagination. And what I'm going to do is start at the top, and I am going to draw a long curvy line down to the bottom. Then I'm going to draw a leaf at the tip. So that's my first one. Let's do another one again from the top. Draw my leaf at the tip. And then the third one I'm going to draw on the other side, and it's not going to go down as far. So I have the beginnings of my Verdigogh pattern, and I am going to fill in the leaves on these stems organically. And all that means is I'm going to draw one at a time. This one goes behind the ornament. And I'm not starting in any particular spot or working in any particular order. Now, you do want to remember that this Gelly Roll ink is going to be a little wet for a minute, so you want to make sure you're not smearing it with your hand or your arm. And I kind of start with them very largely spaced out. And then I'll just continue to fill them in, drawing behind wherever I come to a spot that I need to draw behind. Now, the leaves of Verdigogh, the variety of ways you can draw them is endless. It's as many as you can imagine with your mind. And it's kind of a fun tangle to play with in that way. Kind of challenge yourself to draw Verdigogh, say, 10 different ways. And if you can do 10, then try to do 15 or 20. It gets harder and harder, but it challenges your creativity, and it's really fun to do. Okay, how do I want to do this? I think, because I want to start having them go behind other leaves. And I do this kind of, I'm working all three of these strings, stems, if you will, at the same time, so that they look kind of like they are overlapping each other. They've grown all together, and that's really more what you find in nature. So it's more realistic, I think, if that's what you're looking for. And we are drawing Zentangle inspired art, and so maybe we do want them to be more realistic. Now I'm just using this pen to draw the outline of the leaf and one single line in the center. But if you want, you could just draw the leaf and outside and then just fill the whole thing in with green color. And the other cool thing about this pattern is you can make these leaves as full and thick as you like, or you can leave them nice and airy open. Totally up to you. Stopping and looking every so often and asking what is needed. Maybe that looks good enough. I don't know, I kind of like it. Except this should be in black and not gray. So I am going to try and find my other black jumbo. Here it is. I think this might work better, so I'm going to try again to outline this loop. It did darken it a little bit. Not a whole lot, though. Okay, I'm not going to play with that anymore. Okay, so now shading is what we would do next. And I could shade this with graphite if I want. I could shade it with watercolor if I want. The way I drew my ornament or painted my ornament in the beginning, I kind of had dimension in mind, shading if you will. So there's lighter spots and darker spots on the pink paint in the ornament. So you kind of have to decide where you want to go from here. This is a General's Black Layout pencil. It's very, very dark black. It's, I'm going to kind of use this to try to get a little bit of shading around the edges. So I just did the right side of each of my orbs, and I'm going to do another line in between each one as well, because that would be darker. That might even be enough there. Then I'm going to come up here. Hopefully this is dry enough. And everywhere they meet, I'm going to put a little bit, just to get some contrast. Okay, let me just try to blend that out just a little bit. I didn't have too many spots where they overlapped, but hopefully I have enough to give it some look, dimensional look and falling back. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead, let me see if this will do anything. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more to just one side of the long stem. And we'll blend those out. I can even just from that center line just kind of blend a little bit into each leaf. I don't always do shading of any kind with gel pens because often I don't think they really need it. But I just wanted to try something different with this. See what it looked like. You know, I'm kind of liking it. Okay, let me see. That looks pretty good. And these out a little bit better. Cross over. And you can use regular graphite. I just happen to have this General's Layout extra black one. But I'm sure any graphite would work with this. So. Okay, there's my Verdigogh shaded. Now I'm going to shade these orbs so that hopefully they look like they have a little dimension. Now the thing about shading on top of watercolor is that you very quickly can get your watercolor dull. So you want to be real careful not to over shade. You don't want to put too much graphite of any sort over top of the watercolor because it just makes it look dull. This is such a pretty pink. I hate to lose it. Okay, let's get back over here. Okay, I don't really want to get it too much darker. I like to keep that pink as vibrant as I can. And my tile's a little bit warped from the watercolor, and I'm just going to bend it back. And these tiles do really take water well. So I think I'm done with step 6, which is the shading. And I am going to go back to my black 01, and I'm going to draw my chop. My initial here. Yeah, put it over here. I'll kind of hide it behind this leaf. Well, my little perfs there got a little big. That's okay. Maybe I'll just keep going. Make 5 instead of only 3. This one. Okay, so there's my chop. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over and sign it. And you can date it. I guess I can put the pattern Verdigogh. It's a fun pattern. That's our leaves. Now let me show you before I take off. Oh, step 8 is to appreciate again. So take a moment to appreciate the art that you've created. I think it looks kind of cool. I do like it. You could make this into a little Christmas card for a friend if you wanted. You can use glitter pen to make these big wide bands of ribbon, if you will, instead of black, and that would give it another different look. But I kept it a little subtle with my single line around, and then my green line is also the glitter ink, so that gives me a little bit of glitter. So let me show you some of the samples I made as I was preparing this class. This gives you an idea of the variety that you could use with it. I'm going to go ahead and move this one away for now, and we'll start. Actually, I'm going to start with ones I didn't like. Okay, so I drew all of the ornaments first, painted them, drew them. I used glitter gel pens to do my loops, my patterns, and they were just on the white with nothing in the background for a while because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And then it occurred to me I could maybe use Verdigogh as a background pattern and just fill in all the white space around my ornament with that. And so that was where the idea from Verdigogh came in. Now, I mentioned you could do all different kinds of things with Verdigogh. Here's another one where I just filled in, instead of drawing a line, I drew my pattern with black ink, and then I filled it in with the glitter ink as well. Now this one here, I did a more symmetrical Verdigogh. I didn't do a whole lot of drawing over. And by the way, I'm not shading any of these other than with the watercolor. That's the samples. I didn't do any shading. But this is another version. And then I just took my green pen and drew a simple line in the center of each one of these leaves to give it that green look. Here is one I did with the green, and I did it a little more organic like the black one where I just filled in the complete background. Then I wanted to do one with gold, so I did, and I just let them open with a single line. And then finally I did this one where I drew the line for Verdigogh with silver ink. I filled it in with green, but I left a little white line kind of down the center to kind of give it a little accent, a little bit more interest. So these were my samples. You can see the different patterns on the ornaments as well. This was just simple rings around it. Here's another one with the simple rings. Then I had this one, which I wasn't a complete fan of, but it's just a pattern. There's no name to it. I just drew it on there with the glitter ink. This is the kind of closer to what we drew on our ornament today. This one has a woven grid, if you will, that I filled in. And then this one was another, almost a plaid one that I did with the black. So those are the samples. This is our tile. I do kind of like it. I hope you drew along, and I hope you enjoy yours if you did. So that's all I have for you for this Festive Friday video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing that so you'll always catch my videos when I post them. Until next time, be you and be happy.